We are continuing our study in the Gospel of Matthew, looking at chapter 7 and verses 13 and 14. Enter by the narrow gate. The gate is wide that leads to perdition. There is plenty of room on the road, and many go that way. But the gate that leads to life is small, and the road is narrow, and those who find it are few. Did Jesus always use original material? Did Jesus borrow material? When I read these two verses, I get the sense that this is something that Jesus probably used more than once. In a way, I would see this as a summary people to give to people as they are leaving Jesus. I also wonder if this might have been a proverb of the day. Behind this stood a proverb. Now, I may be wrong, but it has that feel to it. Jesus might have taken a saying that was proverbial and tweaked it. One of the ways you can impact people with the gospel is to take a common expression and give it a Christian application. Years ago in my part of the world, the lottery advertisement had the jingle, "Discover the Freedom." This was easy to give a Christian spin to. The goal being that the next time people heard the advertisement, they would remember the Christian truth applied to it. The life of faith is a call to the narrow road or the road less traveled. There is no way we can be true to faith and not leave people who are important to us behind. This has two applications. The first is a more general truth that we will have to leave the world behind. To embrace a narrow road is to reject the prevailing cultural values of our day. To most people in the church, this is easy to recognize. The more difficult application of this truth is when we have to leave people behind in the church. It might be our old Sunday school teacher or a longtime friend in the church. In the church, there may be a lot of people who are content with having the appearance of faith. It can be the toughest in times when we feel our faith is separating us from those people in our church that at one time we had a close relationship with. Jesus, in many ways, is at odds with the evangelical obsession with the size of the church. Jesus was a realist. Jesus knew that the faith was not for everyone. This is, of course, not saying that only a chosen few were ordained to be saved. It is rather Jesus recognized that not everyone was willing to pay the cost to follow him. Yet time and time again, the evangelical church stresses the importance of numbers. How big your church is important. How many people attend a worship service is important. You see, we put the emphasis on quantity and not quality. Remember that Jesus had only 12 apostles. Yes, there were other disciples, including some very committed women who had significant role in the work of Jesus. We do not want to discount the importance of their commitment and discipleship. Jesus did reach out to the crowds, but Jesus invested in only a handful of people who he felt could make a significant difference in the world for him. One other truth that is important in this passage, and that is to be Christian, is to be lonely. I'm not saying all the time. I'm saying that if you take the narrow road, there will not be the crowds there. If the crowds are not there, then there will be times of loneliness. Prophets like Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Jonah were alienated and isolated from people because of their call. In the New Testament, we have the story of Paul, who spent time in prison. Then there is Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, asking for and not receiving help from his friends. The life of faith can at times be the loneliest experience in the world. If we want to follow Jesus, there is only one way, and that is a narrow road. May we persevere in it.